So, hello and welcome to my next chess video. This time I show you the game between Stockfish 1.0 YA versus Houdini 4x64b. I let them play without opening book or table base, as always. And yeah, the first moves I have given to them, it were the first moves played in the game between Maxime Vachier-Lagrave with white versus Fabiano Caruana. And they played the Lopez Morphis defense with bishop c5, and here Maxime Vachier-Lagrave played the move c3, and then we had b5, bishop b3, d6, a4, bishop b7 defending the rook, d3, preparing bishop g5, so h6, now captures, and knight h4, preparing knight f5, bishop c8. There were one other move here played in this position, but I don't remember which game this was. It was knight to e7, preparing to meet knight f4 that way. But okay, bishop c8 we had here, and now queen f3. This is a new move I gave to them, which is perfectly fine for both sides, this position. But here the game between Maxime MVL and Caruana went knight a3, attacking the b5 pawn, and now bishop g4 attacking the queen c2, and queen b8 defending the pawn. Now king h1, preparing to go f4 maybe at some point, so g5, preventing f4 and attacking the knight f4, bishop captures, pawn captures, and castles. And after queen d1 we had knight here, attacking the bishop. The bishop sacrificed itself on f7 for this fork, so bishop takes, attacking the knight back, attacking the b4 pawn, knight c2 defending, and now queen to c8, attacking f4, g5, queen a8, preparing some nasty discovered check with the knight, so f3 preventing this, and now queen a2. And here we had the move d4, and after rook there takes, we had the only mistake in that game, queen d3, and Caruana went on to win this game with the black pieces with the move e4 here. So pawn to e4, opening up lines, and MVL should have played the move h4 here, and after e4 just capture there, and after rook d7 attacking the queen d2 for example. Now e takes f3, rook takes f3, and rook there, and we would have a draw because taking the knight doesn't work because of sorry, h takes g5, bishop takes, and now pawn takes f3, rook takes f3, and now we would have a draw by repetition because taking the knight doesn't work because of this check. And now this knight hangs and the king escapes the checks, and therefore also this doesn't help, this check. King just goes to f4, and then yeah, back here check, then the queen can block, so this doesn't work because the queen can block, and now then we could have the exchange of queens. So there, and here white is just up a pawn and winning. Just want to see the other line here with queen there check is blocking with queen here check doesn't work because the queen is guarding the square, so you don't have any checks left here in that position except of that here. And now the bishop is nicely defended with these two passed pawns. The king comes to f4, the rook maybe comes to this open file. Slowly but surely white is increasing and winning the game, so that's why you would have to give this perpetual check to the queen with rook there and rook there, because otherwise it's lost. But anyway, this was the game MVL with white versus Caruana with black. And here we have a new move I gave to them, or Stockfish gave to them, the move Queen F3 instead of Knight A3, Queen F3, and now Houdini 4 pushes B4. And let's see what we get there. B4. Stockfish is calculating Knight G5, as I see correctly. No, sorry. Queen G3 attacking this pawn here. So then we could have maybe F5, knight here, takes. Yeah, white should be fine here. Maybe there is even A4 at some point after all that. But first of all, it's black's move. So what to do here? Trying to go knight there, attacking the queen. Maybe the queen is trapped here. Seems so, because the bishop is cutting off the H3 and G4 square. This square is covered, this square is covered. So this doesn't really work. So Queen G3, G5, knight here. So the knight has to go to F5, because after this then knight here wins immediately, because it's trapping the queen. So the knight has to go there. Now bishop takes, pawn takes. Knight here is now F4 is suppressed. Also the bishop is still pinning this pawn, but maybe white can go F4 at some point. But first of all, it's black's move, so maybe E4 is there a good move, but then D4. So it's not so clear. Castles H4. So maybe still knight here. Where is the queen going actually? Can't go there or there. It could go there, defending the pawn and attacking the knight. Now let's see. Knight here, queen there, G3. Where is the knight actually going? Okay, could take this pawn, so this doesn't work. So maybe even queen F3 should be played here. Also pinning this knight. So knight here, knight there, stopping any bishop here. But now G3 maybe. Knight here check, king there. Well, this doesn't appeal. Knight here. G3, where is the knight going? Can't do anything, this knight. Can't go anywhere, so after queen here, the knight has to go back, and then maybe H4. But then G5, G4, attacking the queen, because this is also covering the D4 square, so not allowing white to use it. H4 to G4, or taking even. Not sure. But I would go D4 here, sacrificing a pawn, because after this you have this rook E8 check. King there, probably. And now not taking that pawn, but then knight takes. And no, knight takes is not possible, because the queen is hanging, so bishop takes has to be played. Bishop takes has to be played. And now what? Now the problem is there a problem? Bishop D3, knight there. B4, queen G3 should be the move there. So what's the move there? Queen D2, going after that pawn. You have to keep an eye on this knight at all times. Yeah, but this pawn is taking next move anyway, so the bishop has to go back defending it. Yeah, you cannot take this. So queen g3. Seems as though the black is holding together its position, although this pin looks pretty menacing. Sadly, but truly, this bishop cannot come to that square. So bishop d2 doesn't work, so probably bishop d3. Maybe even bishop there attacking this one. But then still bishop here. So let's try this. Bishop here attacking the bishop, because rook takes bishop was a threat there. Because the knight couldn't take because the queen is hanging. And now bishop d2. And now this pawn is under severe pressure. First of all, queen here, maybe. Takes, 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 takes. Queen a8 doesn't do so much, because the king can just hide there. And black is up a whole rook, so this doesn't work. So queen here. Also keeping an eye on this knight. This knight is pretty poor. So let's say h4. You want to open up lines as long as king is in the center. g4. Rook here check. If you take with the knight, you lose that knight. If you take with the queen, you lose that knight with check. So maybe it's working. Let's see, but where else does the queen go? Not sure. Okay, I don't think that this is a good plan. Maybe bishop here still. Bishop there and rook there. Threatening bishop takes pawn. Again, because after pawn takes, the knight is hanging. So queen here doesn't do so much, because this knight would hang anyway. Now you'd have a problem. So bishop takes, queen takes, queen takes, taking there, giving a check over here maybe. No, not taking there, taking there. No, this doesn't do so much, because there is a checkmate. Because the idea was after you take the rook, you can take this knight attacking this rook. But anyway, the rook moves. Somewhere, let's say here, you want to defend the h-pawn. Queen here check, king there check. And maybe you have compensation due to all the checks, but oh well, this check actually loses the rook. So to make this work, you have to put a move in first. You have to secure your back rank. So rook here, bishop takes, no, not. So queen takes, knight takes, and you cannot do that because of the mate. So first of all, takes, king here takes, bishop takes. Now bishop d2, rook c8, queen here. Now h4, g5, bishop takes, queen takes, queen takes here, queen takes there, and now you can go rook takes, because this check here, okay, you lose this knight, but anyway, taking there. Not sure if this is so great for white. Okay. Let's say rook here. You take yet another pawn. It's hard to do anything, but first of all, you can also take there, and after this, you attack the rook. So rook here. Now knight there, attacking the queen. Queen can't go back here anywhere, so the problem is if you move the queen away, then all this stuff is working. G3, king there, rook there, and now no, you can't take the rook because the queen is covering it. So probably this tactical lines with taking the pawn are not working. But we have here some moves. So the thing is, we had b4, queen g3, and now not g5, but king f8, covering the pawn that way, because castling was not possible, because pawn takes here, and now you'd have a problem because of that move. G3 takes is even stronger than taking the rook because of G3 doesn't do so much because you can take it with the queen, and then it's busted. So that's why king f8 was played, and now let's see both evaluations. King f8. Houdini with the black pieces thinks it's equal. So does Stockfish with the white pieces, also thinks that this is equal. Probably slight edge to white here. But okay, bishop e3 is played. I wouldn't necessarily capture this bishop. I will play a different move. Let's say queen a7. Queen a7. To be able to capture with the queen. And then d4, knight d2, let's say. Bishop takes, pawn takes is opening up the f file, and this is not so great. This is not so great. Is there a check here? No, wait. Pawn takes, pawn takes. Let's give a silly move. Let's attack the bishop. Well, it's not a silly move, actually. Knight here check. Pawn takes. Queen takes. Threatening mate. So you'd have to eliminate this bishop. And now rook takes. Pawn takes. Queen takes check. Yeah, eliminating this bishop was correct, because otherwise you'd lose the rook there. You have to go here. And now you at least have this perpetual, if white wants to. So bishop takes, pawn takes, knight a4. If you make a silly move like bishop here defending the knight, then knight here is probably winning instantly. Rook takes, pawn takes, and queen here threatening mate and the pawn. And this doesn't do so much, because this would still lead to a losing position, because the rook is en prise. And you'd even lose it with the check. So now white is up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2 pawns. But it's losing one immediately back. No, wait. King here. It's white's move now. So probably bishop there, pinning the knight. And if white is trying to do something like this, king here takes. Black, even here it's not so clear to win this. So let's try this attack. No, this not there. Just take yet another pawn, right? Yeah, or go queen, king here. Taking yet another pawn. No, knight here is probably best, because it's covering this pawn here. And after all, white is up 2 pawns, and there is nothing to play for black anymore. So knight c4 is the thing here. So we have queen a2 and knight d7. Is knight d7 even necessary? Or can you play f4 in that position? No, this, not sure. Taking there. Yeah, no, this loses the bishop. So okay, it's also against f4, so you cannot play f4 in that position. I will go knight d7 and knight d2 here. I will continue this. Knight d2, and now what Houdini is thinking here. Not sure. Knight d2 is such a great move. It's developing the last piece, and I think white is here better, because the rook on a8, not sure how to get this one in the game. You'd have to play a couple of king moves, but it's also a safe position for black. It's not like it's immediately lost. So bishop takes is a wrong move here, because f takes, and there is also this knight lurking. So I will go knight here. Attacking the bishop, and if the bishop moves back, then just b3, and no, b3 doesn't work, because the knight would also cover this square. But you could go takes, and now not sure. Bishop d7, I'm not sure. Knight d2, b takes c3. So let's go b takes c3 first. Okay, you have to go pawn takes here, b takes, and now knight e7 is what Houdini gives. Knight e7, preventing any knight from coming in here at some point, and also to preventing any knight, so preventing all of this knight jumps here. This is now suppressed also by the bishop, and also maybe d5 is coming, but opening up lines while the king is on f8, I'm not sure. Stockfish is playing a good game there. Let's try and see both evaluations. Houdini 4 thinks it's slightly better for black already, and Stockfish is giving this as better for white. I would also prefer white in that position, but it's, yeah, it's interesting. Knight e7. It's white's move now. I would go d5. Would immediately go to d5 here. Pawn takes, bishop takes. No, I wouldn't go bishop takes. I will probably go knight here. Or knight f3. No, knight f3 is not so great. Not sure. It's also covering the knight. Yeah, black has a pretty good defensive position, I have to say. So let's try knight c4, try and go d4. So let's try and use a knight there to suppress d4. Now what? Now what? It's a question. Knight f3 loses the bishop, but d4 nevertheless. But knight takes, pawn takes, cementing the bishop. Now this knight jumping in there, pawn takes, queen here threatening mate, c4 defending the mate, or c6, which is what's better? Knight c6, knight c6, c6, because here you f4 takes, king there, and taking there, it's not helping. So after c5, king here most probably, or after the sacrifice even. So let's try and go there. How to defend against this stuff? Let's try some silly moves. Knight here, d4, knight takes, pawn takes, no, not f4. Knight here first. No, knight, yeah, okay, knight here. Then the queen can come back, bishop can come back. So even the silly moves are making some sense, because now the bishop is covering the mate and attacking the queen. So let's really make a silly move. Let's try and go queen here, attacking the bishop. Bishop here. There are no... Every move makes some sense in that position for black. I want to have this position with white to move, so I just want to see if this is working. So that one. No, not in that position. Knight here, knight c6, king h1. Now let's see if this is working. e5, knight takes, pawn takes, knight here check, queen there, c5 or c6. It doesn't really matter, c6. Let's say f4, bishop takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, attacking the pinned piece. Takes, queen takes. It's lost, I think, now for black, because c5 just takes, rook takes, king here, and rook that. It's not only about the queen, so here you could probably go there even, and after this you just pin it. But anyway, you have this mate along the line, but you can after takes, check, you just can take the queen here. So it's pretty much over. Okay, it's working if there are some moves for white. But this is 97 d4, 97 h3 g5, h3 g5, knight here, knight there. Okay, the queen has to go there. Now you can use this square for your own knight, and this one is coming to here. That's probably the idea. And you cannot really kick this knight, because bishop or knight takes here is always possible. So h4, but then g4. Knight has nowhere to go, it has to go back. And after all of this, you can even check the king and trap the queen, maybe. Or at least you get the knight. So knight here. Where else can the knight go? If it goes to f3, you have this knight there. And now knight here. Yeah, knight here, you have to eliminate this knight. You take here first. Then give this check. The king has to go there, and now you go there. G3 loses that one. H4, G4 doesn't do so much, because you'd lose that knight, so it's over. So H4 doesn't work here in that position. But what else can you do? Okay, the knights are covering each other, but you... what's the move here? Let's say bishop here. Okay, you can even kick the bishop back. This doesn't do anything. Okay, let's see. What's the thing here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus 6 pawns. 3 pieces each. So, and black can even take yet another pawn. So probably you defend that one. It's not really defending because knight takes is winning yet another pawn. So what is white is h3, g4, and knight there. So you cannot go to f3. Have to go there, but then knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, attacking that one. So bishop here defending. Knight there attacking the queen. Queen f3. Attacking the bishop. Knight there. Attacking the pawn here. So you have to eliminate it. Pawn takes, opening up the g file. Okay. It starts to look better for white with the bishop pair. For black with the bishop pair and everything. So not touching the pawns yet. Playing rook to b1. Stockfish is playing rook to b1 instead of h3. Rook to b1. g5, knight f5. Yeah, because... no, not rook here. g5 is always a useful move there. Knight here, you'd lose a pawn, so knight f3. But then knight here traps the queen again. So after g5, you have to go there. And now probably bishop takes. Yeah, bishop takes is probably better here. Then white would have this, should play that. No, not taking with the pawn. Taking with the queen, attacking c6. So c5, I'm not sure. No, not c5. Blocking with the bishop. No, then this one survives. So now takes, attacking here. Have to take the bishop, and now knight takes, attacking the queen. Queen here attacking both knights. Anyway, so isn't this e takes, knight takes, attacking both knights? So you'd have to do that. And now knight here attacking this knight. You have to take it, take, let's say pawn takes, and now king here. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6. Bishop and rook. So there is something went wrong here. And if you take the knight first, taking here, taking there, taking there, taking there, taking there. 1, 2, 3 versus 1, 2. So white is better. Where was the mistake here? Eliminating one knight. Takes. Yeah, this is now not good. So you have to eliminate the bishop. E takes. Knight takes. Bishop takes. So what's the problem here? With 4 versus 4, so bishop takes. One piece up. E takes f5. Knight takes, bishop takes. Knight takes, bishop takes. I don't get it. How is this possible? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. You eliminate one piece. E takes f5. 1, 2, 3. Oh, black is also eliminating one piece. E takes, knight takes. So it's equal on pieces. Here it's equal on pieces. Here white is up a piece. And it remains like this. So after e takes, you have to take the bishop first. Queen takes, knight takes, e5. Knight there. Probably not that great. Because king here, although knight there, king there, and I think those two knights are overloaded after this move. So, e4, knight g3, knight e7, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus 6, so black is up a pawn. But white has got a bishop and versus a knight, so still some drawing chances for white here. But let's see how this continues. We have e takes, and now, yeah, bishop takes e3 should be played here. Bishop takes e3, queen takes e3, queen takes e3. This is Houdini's line. And then knight takes e4. F takes e5, king g7, so knight here. No, this doesn't work because of rook there securing the knights. So you cannot take the pawn in that position, so black should probably go here, activate this rook, and now you have to go there to defend this pawn, because now this knight is defended, so you threatened this check, this taking the pawn, and now it's 1, 2, 3, 6 versus 6 pawns. Now is there any bishop takes f7? No, it's not possible. So white is a little bit better there. I have to say this, at least. But after d5, it's unclear. Probably you shouldn't take this, because then knight takes here. So d5, d5, let's say bishop takes, knight takes, pawn takes, knight takes, c5, knight there, attacking that pawn. We have 1, 2, wait, the knight, yeah, attacking that pawn. We have 5 versus 5 pawns. Rook to the second, attacking this one, so pawn for pawn. Knight takes, rook takes. No, d4 you can push, but you have to prepare the push. So rook here, and now knight there, preparing this e3, and also knight here is a threat. So how to cover all of that? Knight here is even, no, then you could go there, so e3. Not sure if there is any threat. Okay. But you block the pawn, so this is one way to go about it. Yeah, but what's black's move here? h3 loses that pawn, and you don't want to do that. So yeah, white's better here in that position. Probably not winning, probably it's even, but not quite sure how to go about it. h4 is also a move at some point. So let's see knight here. Knight there, rook there. On knight here f3. King there, knight there, going after this one. So you'd have to defend. And not just pushing the pawn. Right. Knight here. Takes. Okay, so could harass the rook with knight there. But then you can go there. Whatever. Knight takes, knight here. No, knight here wouldn't do. Would just push the pawn. Pushing the pawn is not possible. So knight here check. King there. And now pushing the pawn. Yeah, I'd have to stop it from coming in here. But then knight there. Again, threatening to push the pawn. So king here. Pushing the pawn. Knight takes. Pushing the pawn one more time. Knight here, and you cannot even save that one. So it should be over for black. Okay, let's see. What was the moves here played in that game? So as I expected, king g7, and now e5, e4. Now d5 is what Stockfish gives d5. e4, d5, king f2. Both engines are giving king f2. Bishop takes, knight takes. Pawn takes, knight takes. c3. Knight there, rook there. Yeah, probably you could go knight. You could go pawn here. And now black is on the defensive. Not sure. Knight here. Maybe you can even sacrifice the pawn. Rook here. Oh, this pawn is also hanging. So knight here defending. But then you could go... Not sure. Yeah, but c5 is probably the move here in that position. c5 is making this a weak pawn, and I think black should go there. And after this, go g4, g5, h3. No, h3 doesn't work because the knight can catch this pawn. Knight can catch this pawn, so you probably take this. Yeah, but taking this is not good. It's not good, but how else to defend? What else to do here? And that is coming to f5. So c5, knight here, rook there. c5. Knight e4, knight takes, e5. This doesn't help, so rook d7, defending the pawn, king here, g4 and h5. So wait for it. Rook d7, king here, knight there, check, taking there, knight here, check, king there, knight takes here, rook there. No, rook there is not on. So after this check, I'm not sure. King there, knight here, taking this. Now that check. Oh, this check you can block with the rook. And after knight takes, knight takes with the check. And it's 3 against 4. Wow, very interesting. After this d5, what's possible there? Because after king g6, it seems you defend. Knight takes is attacking the e-pawn. Rook there, rook check over here. You block? Or do you? Probably blocking is the only thing. Because if you go there, then I think it's even mate after knight takes. Because the rook is defending the knight. You cannot go there, the knight is covering this square, the pawn is covering this square. Yeah, it's a mate. So, okay, c5. Rook d7, defending the pawn, king here. And now knight e4 check. Takes, knight here check. King d6, knight takes. Rook there, rook here check. King. No, rook here check, loses a knight, so you can't do that. So, pooh. So king, rook here. How to attack knight there, attacking the rook. It's still 4 against 4. So rook there. And not just knight here, and it's perfectly safe for both sides. Probably there is nothing. Probably black is better, but I'm not sure. King here. Have this check, but then the king moves there. Rook there check, king there, h3. h3 I'm not sure. What about knight here check? King here and g4. King there because h4 is not on because of g3. Now the rook just moves back and the knight, or the rook moves here to attack this pawn. Now d3. You just capture probably with the pawn. No, you don't. Yeah. Taking here, knight check. King here, knight here, and you lose yet another pawn. So I'm not sure what's the thing here. So, okay, knight takes, rook there. And now knight d6, rook there, knight there. It should be even. This position here, probably better for black, but I'm not quite sure. Rook f5 is with the threat of eliminating the defender of the knight. But anyway, probably knight check, king f2, knight here. But this loses that pawn. Oh, the knight is attacking this pawn anyway. King here, you could probably take this pawn. So, rook there. I'm not sure how. So c6 is probably a better move than c5, but you have to see all that. Rook here and now c6. c6. King. No. What was the line? What was actually the line here? Rook there. c5. Rook d7. Yeah, rook d7. So after c6, rook there, new variation. King there, knight there check, king there, knight here check. this is now not coming with an attack on the pawn, but there are also other options. I just wanna see something on the c5 line. c5. There is knight e4 and rook d7. I think knight e4 is not that great because this defends everything. So rook d7, king here, now knight e4, king there, knight there, check, king g6, knight takes, rook there, defending the pawn, knight d6, rook there, and now this attacks the pawn on d7. So this line is better, for c6 is a better move there than the other thing. But there is now also rook c7 with which you have to factor in. Rook d7, king here, knight there. And now what? Knight here, check, king there, knight there, defending everything. This is probably also the maneuver if you go there. Rook there. You could either take this or defend that. Let's see, trying taking this, taking that. Knight goes back here, f6, king there, knight there, rook there, d3. Not sure. You could also go rook there. Rook takes, knight takes, defending the pawn. Check. Going here, pushing the pawn, pushing the pawn, pushing the pawn. Knight here, covering everything. Knight there. Check. It's a race. Taking the pawn, going there. Now you have to defend against the queening square. Knight here, trying to queen the pawn. Knight there, queening the pawn. I think white is winning this. Yeah, knight versus 2 pawns. Very hard to tell if this endgame is with c6, c5. There is, but the d5. We have the move d5 here, and now not bishop takes. But what were the moves here? I just was too much into that. So d5, king f. d5, king f2, d5, king f2, and now the move rook d8, trying to take and take the knight maybe, or take and take the d pawn. So here we have king e2. Yeah, this endgame is very interesting. King e2, rook a8, rook b2, rook a8, rook b2, rook a8, rook b2, rook a1, rook a2. But now the rook a2, rook g1, and rook g1. Now king e2 again. The king is on e2. So the current board position is king f3, defending. Rook there, attacking the c pawn. You'd have to move it if you defend it. Or bishop c2. But now black should be fine in that position. Really fine. Passive bishop, passive knight. You got d5 in. These knights are awesome probably, so... Yeah, but white is also fine. What I wanted to check out the other thing is, instead of d-take, so we have bishop takes d5, knight takes d5, pawn takes d5. What if you take with the other knight and then take the f pawn? I'm not sure. Rook there going after the c pawn, and I'm not sure how to defend it, so this is probably not so great. Rook, knight there, pawn there defending, and now how to defend this one. Yeah, with the rook most probably, with the rook. Rook here, knight there. f5 doesn't work because of knight here. And this should be bad. So for black, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Should be still playable for both sides. I would have taken it. Going into that endgame is not such a great thing. King g7, e5, d5, king f2, and that line here. We had a couple of moves here. Wow, we again had a couple of moves there. So, what were the moves here played in that position? Rook c1, bishop c2, h5, 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 knight c8. No, it's too fast now. Probably, yeah, both engines they don't have much time left now. So let's just see this endgame right away. I think we analyzed quite a lot there. And I think taking with the bishop the d-pawn is also quite playable for both sides. But this position is probably just bad for white. It's just more active. Oh, wait, losing the e-pawn that way. Going after this pawn. This pawn is defended, this pawn is defended, this square is defended, going after that one. c5 takes, and then knight here. The bishop moves in this pawn. No, the knight is covering it. So c4 for takes, knight here. Knight here immediately attacking the bishop. Whereas the bishop can't go there to defend the pawn. Taking here, wow. Rook takes, knight takes. Yeah, you got a lot of pawns for it. You got a lot of pawns for it, Mrs. Stockfish 1, but... yeah. Both engines are giving it as equal still. Rook here going after the c-pawn. Defending it with the knight. I would have moved the other knight, because the rook would defend the c-pawn anyway. But then maybe then if you had moved the knight, then d6, and if you take it, then the other pawn hangs on f7, so this is not so great. Yeah, you got here 2 pawns for the piece as white, so it's still playable. Attacking the knight. Now what to do? Attacking the other knight. Okay. Where's the knight going? Oh, the knight is not going anywhere. So knight for knight. This is interesting. Knight for knight. Let's see who is winning this endgame. A very interesting endgame here. Attacking the knight. I would go king f7 here. Yeah. And now rook d8, most probably. Rook a8. Rook d8 would have prepared... no, not d6 is not possible, because the knight is also covering that square. The knight on e8 is pretty strong. Covers f6, covers the square, so now rook... Oh, rook e7. No, you cannot play king e2 because of rook a7 getting the h pawn. You have to be ready to meet rook h1 with king g2. So, but now the king has a line here. Now the king can come in. Very hard to deal with this. Rook a8 now. But rook a8, knight... Rook that check. Okay, king g4, king d6. King d6 not possible. Knight d6 is possible. Blocking the attack. Knight d6. But now rook a7. Going after the c-pawn. But anyway, the king and knight are... If you lose the c-pawn, it's not so important. Okay, the king finally moved, but now the h-pawn will become a target. With rook h1... I'm not sure if white can hold this. I'm not sure if white can hold this anymore. And both engines are now for that this should now win for black. King g2. Yeah, king g2, you have to defend the h-pawn. King g2. But then you lose the d-pawn. No, you don't. Rook there, okay. Pawn for pawn. Rook h2, king where to go? Okay, you have to go to g1 probably. Or e1, no, the king goes up, so you lose the pawn with check, king g2. King g2, g2 doesn't help. Yeah, now you can even defend the c-pawn. No, the knight is pinned, you can't defend the c-pawn. Going here. Yeah, now you can defend the c-pawn with rook g7 or just queen the pawn. Yeah, it's over. Let's see the technique. When does Stockfish resign? Yeah, rook g... You have to play rook h1 now. King here, now you go behind the pawn. And win the game easily, probably. Where is the knight route? Which wins? Knight b2. Wow, you give up this pawn. Okay, you get that one as well. So knight takes here and you get all the pawns. This pawn is now hanging, that pawn is hanging. You get everything. You get everything. There's this check. Okay, just take the pawn. If you give that check, then the knight can block. Okay, attacking the rook. Rook g2 check. No, taking this. Now it's just 2 pawns and the knight. It's over. Yeah, and Stockfish resigned, finally. So let's ask Houdini a couple of questions to this game. The first one I have is if taking with the bishop, if this is losing or if this is still playable for both sides. So it's pretty nice game here. So okay, the first moves were given to them. These were the first moves with knight here, and queen f3 was a new move in that position. Live book. Knight a3 was played by Fabiano Caruana, 1st of July, as it stands here. Played there. Okay. Queen f3, I'm not sure. Okay. If this has ever been played before. Queen f3, b4, queen g3, king f8, bishop there. So this is nice. Yeah, of course you cannot go to f3 because knight h5 traps the queen, so this one. Now, why was... Oh, you cannot take the f pawn because of queen f3, securing the knights. So bishop takes, queen takes, queen takes, queen takes, and now you still can't take it because of rook f1 securing the knights. So king g7 defending the f6 knight. So now knight takes f5 is a threat. That's why, sorry for that. That's why here e4 was played, and now d5 and king f2. The question I had is if this is playable. It is. Knight e7 takes f5, pawn takes f5, knight takes d5, c4. I covered the move c4, but isn't this too much? Knight f4, rook b7 was my idea. And now what was my idea? Rook c7. No, what was my idea here? King f6. Rook takes c7. No. My idea here was c5. Covering the pawn, c5. Still d6 is hanging. Rook d7 covering the pawn. King f6. Attacking here. g4 is possible. Is knight there also possible? With this thing. King e6. Oh wow, king e6, and I haven't factored in. I only played king g6, but king e6 immediately wins because the pieces are hanging. But okay, bishop takes is possible. It's a possible line. With c4 also possible. Rook b7. It's not so bad for black. For white. It's better for black, but it's c5. You probably should just go rook e8 or rook d8 or something. Let this pawn fall, go after the d pawn. So, or rook a8 threatening. What is the threat? g3. If you take the knight, rook a1, king f2, king there, knight takes d3, check, I'm not sure. Rook a2, rook a2, king there, defending the knight. Now knight takes check, knight back, king there, rook there. Okay, white is slowly but surely falling apart in that line. So after this, c4, knight there, rook there, rook a8 is a class move. Taking here is, yeah, it's too much for white now. Probably g3, and now knight takes d3, king there, d6. Okay, this pawn is immune. Why? Let's just kill it. Rook there. Okay, where to go with the knight? Okay, let's give this check first. King g6. Doesn't really matter. Let's say knight here. Rook e1 check. King there. Only square. Knight takes c5. Oh. Sorry. Okay, knight c3. I wanna go knight c3, sorry for that. c6. Not sure, 4 versus 4. Rook there, check. Knight here defending and attacking, and how to deal with this now. So I would go there. Rook there. Knight there. Rook e2 check, king there, rook takes there. Why? A rook here, a king here would lead to a mate. So it's hard to defend this position. And yeah, that's why probably king f2 was played. d5 class move, king f2, rook there. Trying to eat a lot of things, defending the knight. Rook there. Why rook b1? This is something I don't understand. Rook b1 allowing... Oh, rook b1, rook there. Why here? Why not just doing that? Isn't this a better move? Rook takes, knight takes... No, it's not. Because you can take here twice. And go after the c-pawn. Okay. So, but... In the game continuation, rook here. Why can't you do this? Oh, because the knight is still covering that pawn. So rook takes, pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes. This is defended. So that's why the rook went here. King defends the g-pawn. Rook attacks the c-pawn. Bishop blocks. h4. King e2. g4. Yeah, it's hard to calculate all that. Knight here, going after the e-pawn. Knight there, king there, knight there, king there, rook there. Why not take the... It's very hard to analyze this, really. Phew. Knight there. Okay, attacking the e-pawn. Can't really defend it. So knight there is a good move. What about capturing the pawn immediately? New variation. Rook there. Okay, going after that pawn. So let's just defend it. Rook e6, threatening that one. So let's go there. What was the move? f3, c4. Takes, takes. Takes, takes. d5, what's the move? d takes c4. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Takes. Probably d takes. Should be an even endgame, but to be honest, I would rather be black in that position. Although black is pretty passive, but with this outside h pawn, I think it's easier to play for black than for white that position. But okay, and you have also a poor bishop, but not sure. Oh, you always have this tactic. Knight takes at some point, so you have to go h4 and now knight takes. What about knight takes? Knight takes here. Rook there, check. King here, pawn takes, and now that move. Knight takes. Oh, okay, you don't have it. So, but because the knight is also covering f6. So yeah, okay. So knight c8 with the idea to go to d6 to add some more pressure to the e5 pawn. Rook there, knight here, rook there, attacking the bishop, or unabling the rook to move. Knight takes e5, knight here going after the c-pawn, knight here going after the bishop, and now taking their... Yeah, the bishop is trapped anyway. You can't defend it. You cannot defend it even here. So that's the real threat. c5. But how to defend the d-pawn? What's the move here? c4. Yeah, how to defend the c-pawn? What about you take this? Taking the pawn like that. Knight takes c3. Rook there and knight takes there. Threatening this check, so you have to defend against that check, which would fork. Bishop and... now knight here. What's the idea of that move? That's just... okay, you can't go anywhere with the rook. You could go somewhere with the bishop now. So let's see, Why? Oh, it's check, so you have to move the king. King f3. And now rook there, check. King there. Knight takes h2, so 3 versus 2 with such beautiful knights. And the outside h-pawn. Yeah, it's winning for black. This line is nice. Knight takes... Pooh. So that's why Stockfish gave up the bishop for 2 pawns. Can you save it there? What about bishop here? New variation. G takes, king there. What about just taking that? Knight takes. Yeah, these knights are just beautiful, but it's still 3 against 3 with equal pieces. Bishop there, defending the pawn. King here, attacking it one more time. Yeah, but this pawn is lost. So you have to find some counterplay with knight here. Not sure, because knight takes, bishop takes, king takes. This is lost for white. What about moving the rook? No. Instead of... Oh, it's attacking the knight as well. Yeah, so then this is lost because you have to give up the piece there. You have to see this, that you have to give up the piece. Knight takes, rook there, and now it's hard to defend. Knight c8, king there, knight there going after f6 and the d-pawn. Rook here taking the knight, f6, rook takes. If the knight moves, then the d-pawn would hang with a check. And then probably all the other pawns are falling as well. What about knight f3? Oh, knight f3. Let's just try it. Where else does the knight go? To here? Or to there? This looks more interesting. So now you lose the d-pawn. King here. Knight there. Attacking the rook, so the rook moves. Rook there, check. King there, taking the knight. So, okay, you lose this knight as well. So, what is if you go there? Knight here, check. King there, knight there, pinning the knight. So you can't go there. Where else to go? Going here, losing that pawn. Going anywhere else? Yeah, here, no, losing the pawn anyway. So this is the best you can do, probably. So taking the knight, taking the knight, taking the pawn. And 3 against 3 with an extra piece for black. So black is winning. So that's why Stockfish took the knight. Now we have taking there. Attacking the knight, defending it. Rook there, defending. It's probably lost for white. Knight d6, king there. Check, check. Can't you defend the pawn somehow? Instead of that move, what is if you go there, attacking the rook? Then rook d3, and now you can... What about that? What about that? Just defending. Rook d2 check. You have to go there. Rook there, defending this. Rook there. Rook there. Rook there. Knight here. Where is this knight heading to? Going here, attacking that one. Going here, going there. Not sure. Let's follow this through. King g7. White can't do so much. Rook there. King there. King there. No. Let's just keep on. No, this you can't do. Because of the fork. So King f2. So what about going there? New variation. Probably it's lost. Rook c2. King there, knight there. Yeah. Okay, so the route is here to Be clear, knight f3, attacking the rook. Rook there. That's a mate in 4-0. You're really not able to cover this g2 square, this h2 square. No, you're not. So you have to give this check, block with the rook. Now play this, and this is mate. So this is also losing. So that's why after king b1 we have this rook c6 going after the pawn. But then just check, 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 going after the d pawn now. So why not move it to here? King h2 check, move it to there, rook there. So let's try this. Knight here attacking the rook. So rook here check. King f7, rook there attacking the knight, knight here. Because here you can't give this check, so you have to take this into consideration. Rook takes pawn. Now rook there, and you just go here. Can't you defend the pawn anyway? Knight here. What about if you go there? Is there any knight fork or any terrible thing which would follow? So rook g2 check. King there, knight here check. Doesn't matter where the king goes. This, this, this. And it's over. Okay, there is a lot of things in this endgame which you can find out. So rook here, rook there, there is a cup. Why moving back the rook here? So after the there. So if you take it, let's just take a pawn. Pawn is a pawn is a pawn. So take it. Then knight here attacks the rook. Is this checkmate? Oh wow. It is. Rook c6 check. King there. Rook there. King there, rook there. King there, rook there. What about knight here? Is this winning? Mate and 12 with the minus in front, so it's winning for black. Rook takes d4 because this is instant mate, so you have to give up the rook here now. Rook takes, pawn takes, then the move d6, rook there, king there, rook there, king there. Can't you really cover the pawn? No. Can't rook here, king there. Wait a bit. No, this doesn't help. So king there and queening, king there. This is mate, yes, it is. So yeah, it's over. So that's why after b3, the rook went to a3 and d2, king there, h2, king there, rook there, king there, rook there, check, and it's toast because black lost every pawn. Okay, very instructive endgame, very instructive endgame. And I understand this a bit more. So, very good game. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Ciao.